Good day, my beautiful people. You're listening to Independent TV 7. Straight down to the headline. NAS committees intrigues us trading as president hijack process. Senators, Representative Sean Akpabio, Abbas lobby presidential aid. So there is intrigue and underhand dealing in the Senate and the House of Representatives over the composition of the standing committees in both chambers of the National Assembly. Leadership Friday gathered that senators and House members are ensured of their faith as the process of allocating them into various steering committees of the two chambers and has been hijacked by the presidency, with desperate ones among them reportedly parting with huge bribes to be allocated juicy committees. A powerful aide to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is reported to have hijacked the process from the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas. Consequently, senators and members of the House of Representatives have shunned Akpabio and Abbas in desperation to realize their ambition of presiding over juicy committees. They have now resorted to lobbying the presidential aide, who holds the eighth in the scheme of things in the National Assembly. The presidential aide in and okay, the presidential aide is reported to have sidelined the Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives in the selection of federal lawmakers as a committee chairman. The Leadership Friday learned that uncertainty has enveloped the faith of the federal lawmakers less than a week to the unveiling of the chairman and deputy chairman of the various committees of the National Assembly. The leadership of the committees are expected to be made public on July 27th, ahead of the recess by both chambers. Also, it has been gathered that the presidential aide was putting finishing touches to the list of the committee chairmen and their deputies in both chambers as at Friday. The aide, who at a time was a presiding officer of one of the chambers of the National Assembly, is expected to hand over the approved and final list of the committee chairmen to Akpabio and Abbas ahead of June 27th. One of our sources in the National Assembly who confided in this newspaper said Akpabio and Abbas' role would be merely to announce the names of lawmakers already penciled in by the presidency as chairmen and deputies of the various committees at plenary on July 27. Another source in the National Assembly told this newspaper that most senators and members of the House who no longer consider Akpabio and Abbas relevant and important in the scheme of things prefer to reach out to the presidential aide and his cronies to seal their fate. The influential aide is said to be facing unyielding pressures from desperate lawmakers and their promoters. This development has been gathered by Leadership Friday's reliable sources hinted has compelled the aide to replace some of his security and personal staff. Now, who it also served as a purveyors of communication, which made him vulnerable and accessible to lobbyists. To this end, senators and House members from Lagos State President Tinubu's base have emerged as new power brokers in the National Assembly in the emerging spectacle. It was further gathered that Lagos lawmakers are not only confident of securing the leadership of choice and lucrative committees, they also serve as conduits and the contact points to access a powerful presidential aide by their colleagues. Meanwhile, it was also learned from one of our sources that juicy committees are being sold to willing members of the National Assembly. The source revealed to Leadership Friday that some members coughed out as much as 1 billion naira to secure the chairmanship of a juicy committee, and that the names of some members who have paid the whooping sum have been penciled against their preferred committees. Now, further inquiries reveal that some government agencies are funding the allocation of high ranking committees to preferred members of the National Assembly in order to engender mutual understanding ahead of the inauguration of such committees and performance of their oversight functions. Some highly connected senators and House members are behind the racket, giving a graphic scenario of the board in the National Assembly. In a chat with our correspondent yesterday, a member of the House of Representatives who does not want his name in print said, over the allocation of the various committees to members, especially the allocation of the chairman of the various standing committees, everyone wants to be a chairman of a committee, and every member, be it in the Senate or House of Representatives, is desperate to be made a chairman, especially that of a grade A committee. The senators and House members are bypassing the presiding officers of the House of Representatives to lobby a powerful aide in the presidency, name withheld, who has hijacked the functions of allocating the members into the committees from Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Representatives Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. It would amount to a waste of time lobbying to get a chairmanship of a committee through Senator Akpabio and Honorable Abbas, because they are obviously not in charge. The presiding officers have also surrendered their responsibilities to the presidential aide, who is touting his relationship with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intimidate and coerce them. The presidential aide is the one allocating the chairmanship and membership of the committees in collaboration with his cronies in the National Assemblies, especially the House of Representatives. And some of these senators and House members, particularly from Lagos State, have constituted themselves as new cabal in the present administration, fixing the leadership and the membership of the committees in their favor and in favor of their associates and also collaborators. The Lagos cabal, headed by the controversial presidential aide, who is also a former lawmaker, and his cronies in the National Assembly, have taken over from the notorious cabal.